Hello everybody. So through this session we will also continue with the literature and scene passages only. So today's chapter is Ma'am Rides the Bus, and here is the first paragraph. So this is the paragraph, and after the reading the paragraph carefully we have to attempt these questions only. So the very first question here is, what was Welly's favorite pastime? So this is given here that her favorite pastime was standing in the front doorway of her house watching what was happening in the street outside. Her favorite pastime was standing in the front of her house and watching what was happening in the street outside. Second question is, did Welly have any playmates of her own age? So this is also given here that there were no playmates of her own age on her street. So we'll write down, no, she had no playmates of her own age. Next question is, what did Welly get from her pastime as a good thing? So watching the street gave her many new unusual experiences. So we'll write down directly, standing in the doorway gave her many new unusual experiences of life. Next question is, what was the most fascinating thing for Welly? And the most fascinating thing for Welly was the bus that traveled between her village and the nearest town. So we'll write down, the most fascinating thing for Welly was the bus that traveled between her village and the town. Likewise, the fifth question here is, find a word from the passage which means detailed. So the word is elaborate. We'll directly write down the word here, elaborate. Likewise, the second paragraph is there. This one, and these are the questions which we have to attempt only. So after reading the paragraph carefully we have to attempt these questions. So the very first question is what was Welly's tiny wish? So day after day she watched the bus and gradually a tiny wish crept into her head. And what was the tiny wish? That she wanted to ride on the bus. So we'll write down Welly's tiny wish was to travel the bus. Next question is, what would Welly wistfully stare at? Wistfully means wishfully, desiringly. So this is also given here that Welly would stare wistfully at the people who got on or off the bus when it stopped at the street corner. So we'll write down, she would stare wistfully at the people who got on or off the bus. Likewise, the third question is, next question is, when were Welly's longings, hopes and dreams kindled? Kindled is means give fire to. When did they get fired? So the faces of the people who are getting on and off from the bus, their faces would kindle in her longings, dreams and new hopes. So we'll write down the sight of the bus passengers would kindle in her longings, dreams and new hopes. Likewise, the fourth question is, when would Welly be jealous? So she would be too jealous to listen if some of her friends, of any of our friends, had a ride on the bus and tried to describe the sights of the town to her. So then she used to get jealous. So we'll write down, she felt jealous when any of her friends described the sights of the town to her. Last question is, find a word from the passage which means excite. So the word is kindle only. We will directly write down. Likewise, the third paragraph is there. This one. So after reading this paragraph carefully, we have to attempt these questions only. And the very first question here is, what did Welly carefully listen to? In the very first line, it is written here that Welly listened carefully to the conversations between her neighbors and people who regularly used to ride on the bus. So we'll write down directly, she listened carefully to the conversations of her neighbors who used to ride the bus regularly. Likewise, second question is, what seemed a fortune to Welly? So actually the sum, or what we say the fair money, which is actually 30 paisa. It is given here that the fare was 30 paisa, and which is almost nothing, as one of the passenger said, but to Welly, just a child only, this much money was 1 month's her pocket money. So it seemed a fortune to her, means a great money, good, very great sum for her. So we'll write down directly 30 paise seemed a fortune to Welly. Likewise, the third question is, how much time did the bus take from Welly's village to the city? So the trip to the town took only 45 minutes. This is also given here. So we'll write down, it took 45 minutes. And the question is, how far was the town from the village? So that is also that the town was 6 miles away from her village. So we'll write down, it was 6 miles away. So last question is find a word from the passage which means hardly. So the word is given here, this is scarcely, so I'm just writing it here only, scarcely.